And now we would like to invite the next guest speaker, Mr. Brett Holmes, the Head of Government Relations of Fundraising of the Salvation Army.
现在有请我们的救世军的最高领导人在跟我们讲话。
Good evening. It's a delight to be here tonight and to welcome you all on behalf of the leadership of the Salvation Army. I want to thank you all for being here and for supporting our work. It's great to have your support in this way. It's more than 150 years ago, and some of you may not know this, that the Salvation Army was founded in the East End of London by a gentleman by the name of William Booth, strongly supported by his wife Catherine. But amidst the poverty of the streets of the East End of London in the 1860s, the Booth's mission was to bring hope and care to the homeless and to the hungry, to the destitute, and in that act of practical support also to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. It was a time when support services were really very small, if existent at all, for these vulnerable people, people who could become forgotten very quickly and left behind by the rest of society. In 1880, a relatively short period of time later, the Salvation Army arrived here in Australia. Interestingly, not first here in Melbourne or Sydney, but the Salvation Army started in Adelaide with two lay members of the Salvation Army who'd come out from London and who felt inspired to start the work of the Salvation Army there in Adelaide. Now, I'm not sure, my good friend Rafina, whether you want to interpret or wait till I finish. I'll finish. So, we started in Australia in 1880. We very quickly came to Melbourne and to other places. Just one interesting point for those of you who might be students of history, but the very first social service of any sort by the Salvation Army worldwide was established just a few kilometres from here, up toward Pentridge Prison. The Salvation Army felt a need to provide a halfway house for the men who were being released from prison with nothing, and that program became the very first out of countless thousands or tens of thousands of social services in 130 countries around the world today. Just a stone's throw from here, very close by. It's an interesting point of history, and it's indicative of the commitment of the Salvation Army of the early days here in Australia and right through until now. What hasn't changed since then is that our focus continues to be on bringing hope and care to the people without discrimination. We support and we work with the marginalised of society. It's part of who we are as part of the Christian Church. Today, the Salvation Army works with people experiencing homelessness, as we'll hear in various ways tonight, family and domestic violence, which is the particular focus of the fundraising tonight, unemployment, financial problems, financial counselling, drug and alcohol addiction, many, many different types of services that we are engaged with people in the community about. It's our aim to facilitate positive and lasting change in the lives of people with whom we come into contact. And while our work continues to grow, we acknowledge that there are increasing challenges, and the social need of this great country of ours is still very great. We're facing greater demand on our services than ever before. From January to September of this year, the Salvation Army has assisted nearly 10,000 women through 24 family and domestic violence services across Australia. In partnership with the Protective Group, who are here tonight and a partner in this particular program, more than 1,100 women and children have been provided with extra avenues of practical protection so that they can live in their homes with a greater sense of security. It's a very practical program which means a great deal to these women and to their children. With the challenges we face and the number of people needing assistance growing, the Salvation Army officers that I serve with, the staff, the excellent staff we have, the volunteers that we have in so many areas of our service will continue to go the extra mile and utilise their great skills, their commitment to stretch our limited resources to the very maximum. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Chinese corporate and philanthropic community and committee. You've worked tirelessly to make tonight's dinner possible. Thank you to everybody who's come tonight to support us. We hope it's not just about one night, but that you continue to support and engage with the Salvation Army in coming days. Your presence here tonight is proof that you care about people who are less fortunate than ourselves, and that you will do things to help them and to help build their lives. Thank you again to all who have put this together, and may God bless you all. Enjoy tonight's engagement and our festivities. Thank you very much.
Funds for the Safer Home program, and let me say a couple of things. And I know a few things about the Salvation Army because when I was in high school, one of my best friends came from a Salvation Army family, so I know the wonderful dedication, the faith and the fundamentally selfless service to others, which is a hallmark of the Salvation Army, and I know that from a very personal level. So I'd like to extend a very warm congratulations to all the work that's undertaken by the Salvation Army to assist those who are less fortunate than us but who, given the opportunity, can join in the society to make a full contribution with honour and dignity that all persons in this community have a fundamental right to. So it's as I said, I have a personal connection from my childhood with people from the Salvation Army, so I know that the faith-driven desire to help others and to be of service to themselves through the community work that they do to others in the best traditions of fundamental public service. The Safer Homes program is what proceeds from tonight's event will be going towards. And this is a wonderful program that, working with the Protective Group, plays a critical role in supporting a Victorian woman in assessing low risk and who are assessed as low risk and experiencing family violence. This is about providing safety upgrades and security measures to support women and accompanying children who are experiencing family violence and enabling them to remain safe in their homes. Since the program was first established in 2016, there's almost been 1,000 referrals nationally, with no further breaches of home safety reported by women. And I think it's worth reflecting that's 1,000 lives freed from the terror and fear of violence. That's 1,000 people given dignity and an ability to get on with their lives. And that is something that is very special, that we should value, and I hope people tonight will support. Because it is important that all persons are free of fear, that all persons live without violence, and that all persons are able to live in the circumstances that allow them to express themselves, to live a life with dignity and respect. The Victorian Government, of course, has played a significant role in assisting the response to family violence, and we're very committed to that outcome. But that work can only take place effectively with the partnership and help of members of the community. And again, I'd like to place on record my support for the work that's done by the Salvation Army and many other organisations who dedicate themselves to the safety and welfare of the vulnerable. And I'd just finally say what this is about in a very real essence. This is about ensuring that we protect those who are vulnerable, we ensure people are free of violence, and such a worthwhile cause, I'm sure all would agree, deserves support and deserves respect, and all of those involved have my thanks and gratitude. It's an honour to be here tonight. Unfortunately, I can't stay too long because I have a range of commitments tonight, but I thought it was worthwhile to come in order to express the respect and to give a little bit of support to the important work that's done protecting people who are vulnerable, particularly women and children who live under the scourge of family violence, but with the assistance of the Salvation Army can live with less fear, in safety, with dignity, and have the fundamental human dignity that all persons deserve, and we need to support here tonight.